We ask for revenge. We ask for redemption. We got carnage at Goodison. Welcome to Carnage, people. A very, very good evening to everyone, everywhere, wherever you may be. Welcome to GrizzCon TV and another episode of Carnage, the aptly timed Carnage, named Carnage, I should say. Tonight, we're going to be talking about what ensued at Goodison Park last night. We're going to have a more calmer, relaxed look into the whole game, the incidents, the talking points, the star men, the flops, mainly in blue. We done a show last night. We done an amazing calling show, but it was a bit chaos where Avi just shouted at everyone, like literally just shouted at everyone. So I said he needs a rest tonight. So I've just put him to the side and brought in the big dogs. You know, Conroy, my man, what's happening?
Oh, mate, I just cannot believe that's 4 in a row with intro. I've not mucked it up. Honestly, I deserve an award now. Can't believe I've done it.
Relax,
honestly.
Relax with the awards.
Honestly.
Relax, yeah.
No.
Long way to go.
Mate. Doing good, mate. And I know, doing good. And yeah, just to be honest, Avi, he called it, to be fair. But there was about the 35th minute I went for. Avi was like, "Oh, I've got this horribly wrong," but thankfully his prediction worked out.
He's got a life. He doesn't get sacked from my show, so he's got life. We also welcome Soccer God all the way from USA. What's happening?
How are we doing, gentlemen? Grizz, I know you said you wanted a calmer show, but that intro's got my blood flowing a little bit.
Oh,
yeah, we should have used that. Do you know what it reminds me of? Right. I used to be a big, now Keith might say, see, you're always cussing about WWE and whatnot, right? But I used to be big WrestleMania. And you know that, the tag team, man, they used to have a similar type music.
No, not DMX. DMX, no.
No.
Not DMX. No,
Demolition.
Demolition.
Yeah.
Demolition used to have something very, very similar.
Probably. What was Shawn Michaels and Triple H? What were they called? Was that
that was after Grizz's time. That was after Grizz's Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior.
Hell yeah. Talking about Ultimate Warrior is the dog of dogs, man. Come on. You can't mess with Ultimate Warrior. And Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect. But Conroy and Evan probably thinking, whoa, man, this is like.
Was Ric Flair in that though? Ric Flair in that time?
No, I'm after Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair was even before me, I think.
He's still going, is he not?
Is he really?
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Oh, there's no way.
There's no way.
He's still alive. I'm sure he's still alive.
Oh, he's still kicking around. There's no way they're still oiling him up and throwing him out there. There's just no way.
It can't be. Surely they can't.
See, when you say that, Evan, it sounds good. If I said that, it would just not sound good with my accent at all.
Fun fact. You know, I'm only going to plug one wrestling fact. I mean, I'll do one wrestling fact a week. Ric Flair's daughter is one of the most decorated women's champions in all of wrestling.
Okay.
That's how time has changed.
How the hell do you know that shit?
Charlotte Flair, man. Woo!
Wow.
15-time women's champion, baby. Trust me.
Say no more. But listen, people, welcome to Carnage. Hope you like the intro. Hope you like the cast. Of course, I've introduced 2 of them. I forgot because he's been away so long. He's been having biryani after biryani and chicken pilau after chicken pilau. And, you know what I mean? He's been having every type of Indian food under the sun. Welcome back. How was the wedding season?
Wedding season was incredible. So all my aunties and uncles, man, I was the best man at the wedding as well. Done the best man speech. Got so much love. Open bar. It's been carnage for the last week. Open bar. I think I've had hangover after hangover. I was even in Manchester yesterday, singing Mo Salah's song in the heart of Manchester.
As you do, brave man. Yeah, but it helps. It helps that you're 6'5" or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
It does help, mate.
What's anyone going to say to you? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can sing Mo Salah and all sorts, mate. You can sing "You Never Walk Alone." No one's going to say shit to you. But listen. Before we get into the depths of the show, and we got to give a shout out to my sponsors, Elite Me. These are the people for all your CB needs, man. Please go check out www.eliteme.com. Use the discount code LFC10 and at the checkout for a 10% discount as well. You know, Elite Me CBD oil, it contains properties that can help aid in physical and mental well-being and are ideal for everyday use. Yeah, Elite Me's products have helped so many people with a range of things from anxiety and stress, muscle and joint pains to sports recovery. So go check them out, guys. Give them a helping hand. You're helping them, you're helping us, we're helping each other. That's what it's all about. But listen, people, I don't know how you guys feel after after the Lord Mayor's show. I want to get my sayings right. I don't want to be like the Avi of today, you know. After the Lord Mayor's show, I want to come to you because it's been a while since we heard from you, Keith. We went into this game with so many memories from last season. Not only, of course, the game at Goodison, which was one of the most painful memories looking back. Also the defeat at Anfield, where they came and done a job on us, and the way they celebrated, you know, in the changing rooms and everything. And they thought they won the World Cup or something. Yeah. So how was you going into, I mean, I know personally how you was because we spoke, but tell the people how you was feeling going into this game and what did you want out of it? You're on mute.
Massive confidence going into this game. You know, okay, sometimes I do overdo it a little bit with the top red stuff, but a team like Everton cannot go against an informed, world-beating football club without their talisman. And you can't, without Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they're a shadow of their former self, and they don't have any belief in the final third. Don't get me wrong, I think Demarai Gray is a nifty player, but all in all, if you come to Liverpool without your best players, you will get beat. So coming into this, the form that we were in, you know, we've spoken on the show before about players at times maybe looking leggy after the West Ham game. The last couple of weeks, it's like, you know, they found a new lease of life, new lease of legs, new lease of energy. And, you know, no knocks, no niggles coming into this game. Pretty much the best 11 and probably the 11 that Klopp is going to choose time and time again going into this game. I couldn't wait for this one because I knew that the boys knew that they were there for the taking.
Evan, sort of coming on from what Keith says, I saw the focus. I didn't see that, like, yeah, you always see just before they come out in the tunnel, players get focused, players get ready in their own style, in their own way. But Jordan Henderson's face in that tunnel, and let's not forget, they made us change in a porter cabin. Yeah, people need to know that. Yeah, we had to get changed in the porter cabin. So they tried everything they could to ruffle us, but don't know if you saw it. Maybe I only saw it. I don't know if you guys saw it. Feel free to jump in if you did. But when I saw Jordan Henderson's face so focused, full of energy, I knew it's on. I knew we're gonna be serious this game.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's what we do. We, like Klopp said in his pre-match comments, we're going there to play football. We'll see what game they try to play. When you're Everton, you obviously 99% of the time you lack the quality to deal with any Liverpool team. So all you can do is play the occasion. We play football because we have an established, stylized way of playing. And yeah, you know, I read the thing pre-match about them making us get changed in like some portable room out in the parking lot or whatever you called it. It made me look forward to when eventually they move to that Bramley Moore Stadium they've been building for 20 years. So hopefully when that happens, John Henry can just pull his yacht down the River Mersey. We can get dressed on the yacht and then like take a small
in proper style.
Yeah, eventually they'll have us getting changed off site. So let's get used to it.
Exactly. Thamim with the early super chat in there. Thank you very much. He says, yes, Keith is back. Big up, guys. Thank you very much for the soup. So, yeah, Keith is back. No idea for how long and for when. So just enjoy him for he is. He's that kind of character, you know. And as Shaq says, Shaq, I believe, tunes in from Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shaq. Smash the like button, he says. And so do what Shaq says. Big Shaq. Conroy, just getting your feelings after the Lord Mayor's show. How did you feel going into it? I know me and you were confident of the win, but we just weren't sure of the manner, and we didn't really care. I remember us talking on the pre-match. We didn't really care. We just wanted to sort of just get 3 points out the way, get 3 points, no injuries, and get the hell out of there. As opposed to a lot of the fan base thought this was going to be a mauling. Did your mind change as the game got closer and closer?
It didn't change the game got closer. It changed in between the game. It changed about 3 times in the game because I felt like the way it went, Grizz, we thought it was going to be tight. It didn't start like that at all. I'll be perfectly honest. I've been toying in my head all day if that's because obviously we're great. Don't get me wrong, but at times it's like don't believe your own hype at certain stages, if you know what I mean. But I actually do think we started electric, and that made me more confident. I thought we'd win. Don't get me wrong. Thought we'd win. I just felt that it would be cagey or, of that sort. I thought they'd really, really make it difficult and tight, and then it'd have to be a bit of quick movement or individual brilliance. But, well, you could say the first goal was like that. But, yeah, I thought it was going to pan out that way, Grizz, and I know we'll talk about the match in more depth. I've got to be honest, there was maybe about a 20-minute period where it wasn't all rosy, and I think we can maybe mention that as when we get into it. But apart from that, I think we're quite smooth our overall play. If anything, I thought we were wasteful in that game, to be perfectly honest. I would say that. That's the only thing I was annoyed at.
Yeah, it's mad. Blue Chip is somewhere enjoying himself, people. There he is, man. He's in the chat, though. He's very merry today, so I thought I'd keep him away from any live stream, That's all I'm saying. He's very merry today. That's all I'm saying. But Keith, coming to you, the lineup comes out, and it's pretty much as we expected. Did you expect anything different from the lineup? I think a lot of people have been suggesting or suggested that this is our strongest lineup. This is our A team. Say what you want. All the other players are great players. Naby Keita, Bobby, Tsimikas, great players. Gomez, great players. But it's some people will suggest, and I think I'd agree, and I'm not basing it on just last night. I think this is the A team. You're on mute again.
This is by a million miles.
It doesn't take a genius to work out what you just said there on mute.
At least we didn't have to bleep that one out. There's no subtitles, hopefully. Yeah, absolutely. It's the number one team. And the thing about Klopp, which I find quite interesting with the discourse about the teams that he picks, is there's been debates this season that we're going to go to 3 at the back. We should do 3 at the back. We're going to rotate. We need to rotate more. I think Klopp can be his own worst enemy at times, because once he finds an 11, he will pick that 11 week in, week out if all 11 players are fit in the Premier League. He did it when we won the league, and I will be, as long as these boys stay fit through Christmas, I can't see any changes. Maybe the changes in the League Cup, changes in the Champions League, players will get their chance, but it's just so balanced at the moment. It's just beautifully. Everyone's in the position they should need to be in. Henderson's not faffing about as a 6 anymore. Fabinho's there to really mop up and deal from the defense. That whole pivot with him and Thiago at the moment. Thiago being the man that kind of, at times, although at times he still does the hospital passes, but he still brings a level of calmness with the possession and the choice. So it's beautifully poised at the moment. And, I just love it. Every time I see that as the 11 right now, it just gets me excited for the game.
Conrad, I'll come to you next. And people are saying that Ramirez says, loving this new 4-2-3-1, 4-4-3 hybrid we're playing now. There is something different, isn't there? The way we're setting up. There is something that is enabling us to score bucket loads of goals. Like literally, we are tearing into teams and chance after chance, because we spoke about the early goal and the early start we needed. We could have genuinely been 3-0 up after 5-7 minutes, right?
Absolutely. And on the kind of hybrid, I think it's a great comment. We kind of discussed this in the pre-match as well, Grizz. It's a weird one. I think it's because, now you might disagree, I think it's primarily because of the personnel we've got, because it's a Fabinho and a Thiago who can kind of do it, as we talked about telepathy, but they can kind of do that in game. So Thiago can be that pivot, but at times he can move forward in between. And I think that's really allowing Henderson, or it was Ox previously, it's really allowing them to just be more expansive and
Conroy's Conroy, you
I'm here.
there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we missed your last probably 5 seconds.
Oh, it was just to say, I feel like the hybrid, it works, especially with Thiago, and it's allowing Henderson or Ox, whoever's playing in that right-hand side, to be more expansive. And I think you saw that last night. And I feel like there is maybe times, Grizz, we've noticed that maybe when we get 2-0 up, we become a little bit complacent because it isn't as rigid as the free, workman-like midfielder had previously. But I think that just maybe takes time to perfect it. But yeah, I think that's the reason we're scoring lots of goals. And on the chances, genuinely, guys, we'll forget about this, but we were wasteful. Like again, like that was the first 10 minutes. We should have scored at least one. And I actually thought that was going to come back to bite us. It didn't, to be honest, because we're that got that much quality in the team. It doesn't really matter. But I think even Salah's chance, the first one quite early, he's got to be heading that. Like I have no idea why he's going with that with his left foot. I think even McCoy said that in the commentary. Didn't really matter. But yeah, that was the only thing I'd say. We should have scored about 3. That game should have been done by 20 minutes in. And then we could have left early, unlike the Everton fans. I'm only joking.
No, exactly. But Evan, he's right, because Trent's delivery and Roberts from the other side, it just seemed absolutely spot on from the get go. Like Trent whips in a ball and Matip, like open goal, Joel. This is the one. Off to a brilliant start, and then there's an attack where Salah, who gets the pullback? I think it's Mane gets a pullback when Salah hits it, and then Pickford makes a save.
Yeah, that was a good save, to be fair. That
That
one.
was a good save. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good save. We approached this game, and do you remember we spoke about playing the game and not the occasion, and playing them for what they are, which is shit, right? And that start was indicative of a team saying, we have superior players, superior coach right now. We're in form. We're going to come hunting for you. Did you really feel that this could be anything in that opening phase of play, like the opening 10, 15 minutes? Or did you think too many chances missed? We need to put one of these away. This could come back to haunt us.
I mean, as a footballing fan that's, gone through a few scarring title races and some really close contests, it's always in the back of your mind, no matter how good you are. Like, oh, that could come back to haunt us, I'm thinking the same thing when Demarai Gray scores, like, oh, here we go, but that's not the rational part of the brain speaking, That first 20 to 25 minutes might be our best 20 to 25 minutes of the season. It was incredible. Passing out from the back. The passing in general was just so sharp yesterday. I thought it was largely across 90 minutes. It might have been our best team display of passing. The assists were fantastic. Like I said, passing out through pressure. But from what my eyes were seeing, no, there was absolutely no way I thought that could be anything other than a 4-0, 4-1, 5-0 type scoreline. And you're right, Grizz. We had to play them for what they are, which is the most out of form team in the Premier League. They on form right now. They are the worst team. So yeah, I can't honestly say I was ever rationally worried, but just as a football fan who's maybe seen too much, you always get worried inevitably.
That's
Yeah,
because of
we
the
do.
momentum, though, isn't it? Momentum's
Yeah.
absolutely crucial to football. Like, you want to kill momentum, and then when you give them a goal, that's what annoys people, because it gives people belief. I think that's what annoys most people.
Yeah.
What gave me absolute belief, even that start, and I was like, this is a great start. I'm going to be honest. It was a great start, but I thought, fuck's sake, this is a Merseyside derby. You're not going to get this amount of chances. Slap me. What do I know? Straight away, we missed those 3 chances, and then Robertson again. Keith, I'm going to come to you. I know probably Conroy would want this.
Don't bother. There's
I'll
no
give-
point. It's just copy
I'll,
and paste.
I'll,
Don't bother.
I'll give Conroy another go later on in the show.
No,
But
it's okay.
Robertson goes down that byline, a lovely bit of play again, and the ball. Sorry, Sadio Mane pulls it back, doesn't he? For the opening goal.
There's 1-2, but Robertson pulls it back.
Sorry, Sadio Mane and Robertson with a bit of interplay.
Yep.
Robertson pulls it back into an absolute lovely area, and that man, Captain Fantastic Henderson, comes in. Talk me through that goal, and did you expect that kind of delicacy, kind of guile from Jordan Henderson?
Well, let's take that goal back a couple of steps. One of the things, like Klopp said, Robbo is Robbo. Yeah? When they questioned him about picking him, he said Robbo is Robbo, and everybody got their pitchforks out when Klopp made that statement. How could you say Robbo's Robbo? Tsimikas deserves to start. This, that, and the other. Like, everyone went crazy over this one comment. And you know what? Klopp has since been proven right. That initial press to win the ball, where they do, it was Robbo. Robbo wins the ball initially in their half, right? And he was on fire in this game. Every press, every tackle he was winning was spot on. His passing was spot on. And one thing we don't talk about enough, and we'll probably talk about in years to go by, is the telepathy between him and Mane is so in sync. And when they are on, they are on. They know where to run, where to pass the ball, and even down to the pace of the pass. These two know each other so well. But Robbo wins the ball, and then Henderson plays a lovely chip ball over to Mane in the initial stages to send Mane through. And then Mane does the 1-2 with Robertson, cuts back, and on his left foot as well, he hits that ball so sweet. So
sweet.
Beautifully.
So controlled. It's controlled. It's like he knows exactly what he's going to do.
It's just, and you know what? Henderson's on course to, I think, like put up numbers that we did in the title winning season. And that's what we've got to keep a big, big eye on. If Henderson can keep these legs going, look, I hate to say it, right, but we like a little bit of bants, yeah? We've been talking about Pogba and unlocking Pogba and this, that, and the other, right? But Jordan Henderson's the one who's actually done it, won a league title doing it, and looks like he's pushing us into a league title again, into a fight for the title. He is on fire at the moment, and that goal was just expertly taken. Absolutely expert. But again, it's not just the fact that he scores that goal, it's the fact that he starts to play. His passing in this game was unbelievable. He was a man possessed. Maybe it was that kid. Have you seen the interviews with the kids when they interview with Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Oh yeah,
yeah. What does Henderson do? I think Henderson saw that and he took it personally.
I think it was taken out of context.
Yeah, it was.
Like
it was.
People sort of took that clip and said, because he says, "What's he good at?" He actually meant like, what kind of things is he good at? Because Thiago was saying Henderson's good at, I can't remember the things they were talking about, but you know how Twitter goes on. They just clipped that bit and said, what's he good at? But you talk about his passing and the man possessed and Evan, the second goal. Shall I tell you what I liked about that goal, guys? And I bet you none of you, even though you all call yourselves football men, none of you guys would have noticed that little Thiago pass into Henderson. And I tell you why I enjoyed it, because, you hear about, I heard one pundit commentator, I can't remember who said Thiago's passes come with information on the pass. And what they mean by that is Thiago's passes enable the person who receives it to make his decision easy. Do you get what I mean by that, guys? So Thiago puts that into Henderson, and Henderson knows that Thiago's pass is saying to him, caress it into Mohamed Salah. That's how I got that goal. But, sorry, Evan, I had to describe it the way I saw that goal, because I just loved that. And then you can tell me about how you felt and the rest of the finish and whatnot, man. This is poetry.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think I've said it before on this show, how Bergkamp's invincible teammates described him. They said Dennis Bergkamp's passes showed them what they were supposed to do next with the ball. So it's similar type of thing, similar caliber of player in Thiago. And yeah, it's an incredible pass from Henderson, who's racking up quite a catalog of incredible assists and incredible goals so far this season. This could be his most Hollywood season so far.
He's having a poor season, Evan. He's having a poor season. This is what I've been told.
but
He's having a poor season.
he's finished. We shouldn't have given him a new contract.
Do you remember the
yeah.
hoo-ha? Do you remember the hoo-ha when he got that the new contract, and people were saying, why are we giving what is he, 30 or 30 something?
He's just 30. Is it 31? I might be wrong.
Yeah,
30,
something
31,
like that.
something like that.
And we're talking about he's so injury.
We've got Milner who's 36 though, Grizz, so I think we'll be fine, mate. We'll find a place for Henderson.
But
don't
again,
worry.
it's such a slap in the face for people that think that know the game, as opposed to people running our club and running our team that actually know the game. So many people were telling us Ginny was the one to keep, Hendo was the one to get rid of, and they were ready to go to town, to on these decisions. But all I'm saying is, who's laughing now, right? Like who's sitting rosy and cozy right now are the two players. But sorry, carry on, Evan.
Yeah, and the finish. I mean, we're Jordan Pickford's in a different postal code. You can get anywhere near it. Jordan, it's such a tight angle, and Pickford's positioning is fine. I don't think he could have done anything better. He's such a tight angle, and Jordan Pickford is nowhere near it. And I'm sure we all remember Mo missed an easier chance at Goodison Park in the tail end of that 18-19 title challenge with City, and we drew that game and lost the title by a point. So as he goes through and goal at that angle, all I'm thinking about is how he shot low that day in 2019, and Pickford stuck out a leg and got it. And so maybe, I doubt that's playing in his mind because it all happened so fast and he's a robot. But I'm going to pretend that he's thinking about it and he's like, I'm going to lift this one. So I'm going to
what?
Yeah.
Evan, you make a fantastic point reminding me of that. And that was such a crucial game because that would have enabled us to win. Like if he scored that goal, and I wouldn't put it past him. You know how he knows keepers' positional set, how they go for penalties. Do you remember he asked Ben Foster a few weeks ago, which way would you have gone? This guy's a machine, and we've spoken about him getting better and better. I don't think it's too fanciful thinking that he remembered that, and this time he put it out wider with a bit more height. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
It's such an impressive shot because it's a chip, but not really a chip. You know what I mean?
It's like Henry. It's like Henry. Henry's the doing that. He curled it outside.
You're spot on, Conroy, because for me, Henry is the best in the history of the game at opening his hips and finishing. That type of finish, Henry was the best.
Yeah, he's the master at that, 100%.
The best I've ever seen it. Like I remember growing up when I was a kid. As soon as I was watching Match of the Day and Henry opened his hips, I'm like, oh, it's a goal. And Salah is approaching that. And Grizz, I think you're right. What that is poetically indicative of is that Mo Salah has reached a new level. Just when we sort of thought that he had maxed out his efficiency at an already world-class level. No, there was another level. There was another gear to kick into. It speaks volumes about our coaching, Klopp, our system, but it says the most about the man himself because he holds himself to such a standard that would be unhealthy for 99.9% of the people on the planet, but not for him.
He's also in the best team. So if you're in a team that's going to create that many opportunities, surely if you want to be the top dog in that team, you're going to have to keep putting your standards up because you've got players around them like Jota and Mane's levels are high as well with the finishing. So yeah, I just think when you're in a great team, if you want to stay at the top, you need. And I just think he's probably obsessive about that stuff. But to be honest, he's not like a natural born great finisher. So he's had to improve on that, and he definitely has because he's a brilliant finisher now. But it's not always been the case. So you can tell he's been working on his game.
Guys, we can't even call this man a stat padder. Like against like he scores against the bums, he scores against sort of games or in situations where the game's won and he scores the fourth and the fifth or the third goal. Guys, I've got someone's tweet here, and Mohamed Salah in the big games, guys. Conroy, Chelsea, Milan, Porto away, Man City, Atletico, Man United, Arsenal, Porto, Everton home. This guy, when it comes to the big games, when it comes to the crunch situations, what's the word kids use these days, Evan? Evan will know, or Keith. Clutch.
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 Yeah.
Clutch. My favorite American sporting term that's made its way over to Europe. I love it.
There you go. I knew I'd get it.
We're the only
Guys.
country that doesn't use a clutch.
Yeah.
Only joking. That's a good thing. I don't know why we insist on having a clutch. Some people like manual cars, but it makes sense to have it automatic.
But Conrad, talking about his goals, and people talk about, because I call Lukaku a stat padder. I talk about Lukaku being the opposite in big games. I'm just putting it out there. We talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, who's in a clutch player, clutch moment, comes up with the goods every single time. He may not have a good game or whatever. This man is. We had a wonderful caller last night, Diallo from Guinea, whose mum's Senegalese. Shout out to Diallo, who's an Arsenal fan. And the word he used for Salah is inevitable.
Yep.
Conroy, that goal, and we'll come on to his other one, but that goal was inevitable, and his performance, his overall general performance this season in the clutch games or clutch moments, I've never seen anything like it, Conroy, from a Liverpool player. The closest, obviously, is Steven Gerrard in my lifetime, but this guy is taking it to another level, I believe.
Yeah, I'd say this season you can maybe use that term. Like, I think we can't forget, like, this season's a special season for Salah, because it's not even the numbers, it's the like the goal against City, the Watford goal, the, as you say, Atletico, the run he's on, the moments, the improvement in finishing, and just his general decision making and link up play. He's never been that good. He's at all-time peak right now. I would say that's he's probably putting himself in that category. Like, people go on about the Ballon d'Or and he should have been higher on it, and he should have. But to be perfectly honest, right now, like, his main aim should be, like, well, where the run he's on, just continuing that form. And if he can continue that form, he's going to rack up. It's not even necessarily about the numbers, because he's hit 32 in the Premier League before, but it's more about the actual season. Like, we talk about Suarez's season, like opposition fans talk about Suarez's season as being one of the best from just like one player, a one-off season. If Salah keeps going the way he's going to rack up some competition. Probably he's going to beat it. Don't get me wrong, Suarez done stuff that I still can't get my head around. Like, it was unbelievable. But the way Salah's going, with his actual decision making and getting assists for other players, I think he'll beat it, to be honest. And I think he can. Like, he just looks in such a, I don't know, his mentality right now, I don't even think he looks like he's overthinking. He's obviously using his brain at times, but I feel like he's not. He's just enjoying the game. He's always been someone who'd smile stuff off. And people say, like, oh, that's maybe not great, but see if you miss, and he's missed a few open goals in his career, it's just like water off a duck's back. And I think that actually helps a player in the long run, because then they know they're going to get another chance. So it doesn't bother them. And I feel like Salah's at his absolute peak right now. And you might be right, Grizz. Steven Gerrard's still my favourite Liverpool player ever. Like, in my mind, nothing's going to top that as what he done for us. But listen, Salah's right up there right now, and that question will eventually be put, and some people might say that. Not for me, but he's definitely up there.
Shaq comes out with a stat for us. Well, it's not a stat, it's a fact. Keith, 14 games, 13 goals and 8 assists. Do you remember there used to be a time where we used to look for sort of 20 goals and think, top striker needs to score us 20 goals. This brother has scored 19 already in all competitions. 19, and we're in December. He's phenomenal. He's inevitable. But I wanna talk about, because someone said earlier, guys, Dean reminds me, stats are better than facts. Absolutely, brother, they are. Someone wants to remind you and say, Keith promised us, because Keith promises, and what Keith promises he delivers. Keith promised us we're going to win the league. I hope we do. Keith, if we're to win the league, I think we have to not give teams the 10-15 minutes we gave Everton. We were in absolute cruise control at 2-0. Salah scores the second goal. They don't have anything. And I felt it at the time as well, lads. I don't know how you guys felt. I didn't feel the result was ever in doubt. I just felt frustrated that we've stopped playing football for about 10 to 15 minutes. Was you as frustrated at the time?
100%.
Yeah, so a few passes went astray, and I thought, we're looking to win the league here. We're up against some formidable outfits. We can't be giving better teams than Everton these 10, 15 minutes. Or am I being too harsh?
Look, the league season, I think we're going to have probably one of the best league seasons of all time. You have got attack, Liverpool, defense, Chelsea, and control in Manchester City. These are the three teams. That's what makes it so beautiful. Each one are good at what they do.
Yeah.
And Liverpool, at this moment in time, what frustrated me in the build-up to the goal was just a few moments beforehand, we were still taking pot shots from outside the box. We were still trying to make like overzealous passes. We're 2-0 up, right? We don't need to still be like playing at 100 miles an hour. And I feel like it's almost as if we don't always know how to kind of control and just put our brakes a little bit and just hold the ball, move it about, and get their legs knackered. We seem to be wanting to score the third, and then the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and go boom, 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 boom. We need to learn from the likes of City, who will kill you death by 1,000 paper cuts. They'll get that first goal, and then they won't give you the ball for the next 10, 15 minutes. And that's what really frustrated me. So it kind of like, it's no surprise that we were still going 100 miles an hour, still pressing, like winning tackles, and we were going crazy. And then all of a sudden, that you just that little bit of legginess, that little bit of, and it starts with Mane. Now, I love-hate relationship with Mane this season, right? I will die for him in the Twitters. If you catch me on Twitter, I'll die for this man, right? Because so many people said he was finished, and I think his goal-scoring record is incredible. But I just don't understand what the hell has happened to this man's first touch and ability to shield the ball. This guy used to be a guy, we all remember, a ball comes to him and he used to hold people off. And he would almost like low gravity, never get the ball. Ball kills it on his feet. This season, every time a ball seems to come into him, his first touch always takes it away from him. And it was the first touch in that scenario where, first of all, Fabinho's trying to force it again instead of recycling it out of the kind of the scramble that was taking place and recycling it. He's trying to be quick and clever to try and get a third and play direct. Bounces off Mane, and then all of a sudden, when you're running like that, when you're trying to push and push and push and push and push, eventually there is going to be a brain fart moment. And I feel like everybody had that brain fart. Everyone's just like, poof. Like Trent, could he have been a bit more physical in that tackle? Could he have, really like put his
covered in? Yeah, but the position he plays is, again, it's expansive. He's asked to sort of take that wide berth. Yeah, look, when is it?
Does Ali need to come off his line so quickly as well? I mean, it's one of what makes him great.
Yeah, this is it.
Sometimes this season, that type of goals happen more than not. Like the ball seems to get under him more than it used to.
Yeah, but that could go over the bar. It could go wide. I think it's a lucky finish when you do that. Like, for me, sometimes it's just low averages. If you hit it at his legs, and I think you can't blame the keeper when it comes to that stage. And Trent, I don't want him diving in, like maybe block off. But how many players get sent? Oh, actually, you wouldn't get a red card now, would you? Because double jeopardy rule. So that's a fair point, actually. But Trent's always looking to bomb. That's what he's told to do. So
yeah,
can't
it's
really
a
have a go
difficult
at
one.
philosophy.
I know what you mean, because I was thinking the same about Alisson coming out, but then I realized no, that's him. We take away Alisson's natural reaction, then we've got half the keeper. It's all about keepers, activating or doing their natural reaction. Evan, I want to come to you, and Lucky's been having a little bit of a go at me since I said we lost control for about 10-15 minutes. He says, and he said something earlier as well, he said, like, not even City dominate for 9 minutes. If you watch all their games, you see that teams have spells. Absolutely, I accept that. I think what I meant was, and maybe I was wrong, I don't know your feelings, give me your opinion. I just thought it's not about dominating for 90 minutes, I feel. Absolutely, no team can dominate for 90 minutes, right? But I just felt that 2-0, as Keith says, at 2-0, we could have played a different type of game. And I think sometimes, again, someone in the chat last night, or one of the callers came in with a brilliant point. He said, we seem to be confused as to what to do when we're 2-0 up. Shall we keep going full throttle heavy metal? Shall we control like we used to in the title winning season, where we used to play far more controlled but less expansive? I'm in the middle, just like Conroy said. I think it's just a bit of not teething problems, but I think we're just establishing this season's method of attack, so to speak. I don't know how you feel about that 10-15 minute phase when we're at 2-0.
It's a weird one.
It is, yeah.
I'm in agreement. I think we're on a new frontier in this Klopp team, because something has changed. We are a different team. I would argue, in a way, it's almost like the identities of us and City have flipped. Whereas in previous seasons, we were the team that could make a 1-goal advantage last 90 minutes, and we could see that through. And they were the team that could turn 1-0 into 5-0 very easily. Now it seems like we're that team, and they're the other team that can hold on to a 1-goal advantage. That obviously small sample size in early days, but that's just something I've noticed with the whole Everton thing yesterday. What was frustrating about their goal, other than the manner in which we conceded, is that I would argue that Everton didn't really have a spell. We sort of just took our foot off the pedal, and they had a moment. I would argue. Like,
I think you're right.
A spell is something you can feel happening, like a team starting to turn the screw a bit. A spell is what City did to us at Anfield for the entire first 45 minutes. That's a spell a team is having against you. It's a weird one, because what do you do? Like, what does
slow the game down? Just kill the game. Stop playing 100 miles an hour. Henderson screaming at Trent before we concede to stop being wasteful with the ball. Like, he's screaming at them, and then when you've got players like Thiago, you can tell they're just like. That's why Henderson's your captain. That's why he's screaming at them, and I think they need to be better at that, because sometimes it's really not difficult to slow a game down. You just slow everything down. You stop playing like the behind the ball passes.
Conroy, can I say though that I think what Klopp would say to that is that our entire method of controlling games revolves around heavy metal action.
See, I don't think it does. I think it's a balance, mate. We can play the ball at the back for 5 minutes easily. There was not like Everton we were playing it around the back at ease. I think you can do that for 5 minutes. I'm not saying you don't give the ball away, but see, spells are right, but seeing derbies, especially against Everton, they've got nothing, mate. They're on the ground. Don't give them a chance to score. It's literally Gary Neville says all the time, when we went to Anfield, you just quiet the crowd down. Don't give them anything. And we're saying this, and I agree, we were going to win the match, but Doucouré has a chance at the 43rd minute that he nearly scored from because of us not game management properly. So we're forgetting all these little things that are not going to bite us against Everton, but they might bite us against teams who are very...
have
Brighton.
No, straight away. Atletico 2-0 up, 2-2. Brighton 2-0 up, 2-2. So there is the pattern here. So listen, it's a great result and I love it. I just think that they need to work on that slightly, because City are a machine and they're not going to stop. So we need to win every game. So
I think what I would say to that, Conroy, is I still think when you're in that situation, it can confuse you, because I agree with Evan about this season. We seem to be reverting back to the heavy metal, full throttle type football, knowing that we've got the big dogs back at the back: Fabinho, Matip, Virgil, Alisson, right? That sort of backbone, the spine. And I think when we try to slow it down, I genuinely think, guys, I think we get a bit confused as to, is this how we should be approaching it? Because we're getting so much success breaking lines, getting opportunities. Like we've just spoke about 2-0 up after, what was it, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it should have been 6-7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I think it's just a matter of, experience.
I think it'll get there. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying it won't. I just think all I'm saying is I'm a big believer in momentum in games, and it really pisses me off, because football at times should be like, don't give unnecessary goals away. and that goal just came from sloppiness. That's all I'm saying, guys. Like I just think it's something we need to look at, just to keep an eye on, because there's about, I think someone else said the AC Milan game, 2-0 up in AC Milan game, 2-2 or 2-1, sorry, was it 1-0 up and 2-1? So there is examples there, but listen, we're doing great, and I'd much rather we be playing this way with slight tweaks, because I think that'll happen. And I don't get me wrong, I think Klopp would be raging with conceding that goal last night, and he's going to be looking at that tomorrow. And I do get what you're saying. You can't go from one to the other. Just see, because we won the league by
I think
being
we can.
controlled, I think we can. Yeah.
Sorry, I think we can, and we should be able to, but that would make us the perfect team.
That's a fair point.
Or that would make anyone the perfect team.
It's hard to get perfection.
Exactly. I think it's one of those ones, yeah.
Can I just argue, like, in my opinion, I thought we lost our momentum as the team because we tried to slow down. After that first 20 to 30 minutes, the game as a whole seems to take a hit. There's a lot of stoppages. Players need treatment. Everton are fouling more.
Yes, a lot of dives. Do you remember?
Everton are surrounding the ref. There's just a lot of things that would naturally kill any game. Forget the teams involved. So the game starts to be reduced to just a Merseyside derby after that 20 to 30 minutes, and we're not playing as quickly and as assertively as a result. So I would argue that those things kind of contributed to us taking our foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
I think the actual manner in which we conceded is a different issue, kind of removed from what we're talking about, because it seems like we're sort of caught in this weird transitional phase of play where Trent's like 30 yards ahead of Matip and Van Dijk, and the manner in which we concede specifically in that moment, absolutely, we need to eradicate that sort of thing from our game if we're serious about winning things, 100%. But there's just I still would go back to my point that I don't think Everton had a spell that they created themselves. The game just seemed to peter out, be reduced to the mean, if that makes any sense.
Oh, no, absolutely. I agree with that.
No, I do. I think, but what I was saying is the reason I think it's improving as well is, like, you say that style, and I think it's a fair point, Evan. But see, Brentford, we've done it with Brentford, but Brentford wanted to play basketball, and we conceded and free, and we couldn't take our chances. So, like, I do think there's kind of double-edged sword there. You can do it that way, but there's some teams who punish you more. But from that, if you look at the Brentford game, that was maybe a month, 2 months ago, you can tell, as I think someone in the comments said, the balance is getting, Dean, that's a really good comment, it is getting better and better. And I think we'll get, listen, this is me, I'm like looking at, this is small issues in these games. I'm just, in my head, City, Chelsea, it's going to go to the wire. So we're looking at absolutely everything here, guys, to get us over the line. So that's why I'm just bringing it up.
Dean says exactly, Keith, he says the balance is getting better and better. We just need to enjoy it for what it is. I think we can already see Klopp making the tweaks to keep improving the system defensively. I also see that, and I think sort of we go into half time 2-1 up when it should be 4-1 up, but we're still confident, right? Because of the performance of majority of that half, because of the fight and desire and passion. Do you remember when we lost to Brentford? I was scathing about our attitude of certain players. West Ham. Yeah. I wasn't sure about some of the attitude or some of the effort. This was totally different. I knew we'll regroup. Was you of the same opinion? And there seems to be, since that West Ham result, like a newfound venom, almost, like you've said, an energy that we're just taking teams apart now, like, as opposed to just finishing games, just getting over the line. Like, we're sprinting away, and that's what happened in the second half.
You know what I found really interesting, even not the second half, but the game in general, was Jota. So there was another thing that was spoken a lot about. It was kind of like, well, if Jota doesn't score, what does he do? And I felt in this particular game, he was key in creating moments that eventually led to goals. I had a look on who scored as well to see who won the most amount of tackles, and I do believe that Andrew Robertson was number 1 and Jota was number 2 with three successful tackles in that game. And he was involved in the pressing, in the ball carrying, in the movement. And we'll come back to his goal in a second. But I just felt like you know, he really helped cause a lot of disruption and cause a lot of balls to go astray, which we would then capitalize on. The energy's there, the commitment's there. We are the great entertainers. I've said it to you, Grizz, before, and I know you don't like it, but we are this season. We are going to be the great entertainers, and it's going to be a roller coaster of a ride. But you know, we come out into that second half, and what I like the most about it is that we kind of it was business as usual again. You know, we didn't come out like we did against West Ham and you know, start.
Give the momentum to them. We gave the momentum to West Ham in that second half. Yep.
We just took out. We took the ball by the scruff of the neck, and then I don't know. I mean, what for me, one of the most best goals, I think, this season, because you know what it is, right? Football pitches are really big. Okay, now I know that's a really like obvious thing to say, yeah. They're really fucking big, right? The man is in his own half, yeah. And you know, sometimes it's the small things, right? Like physically being able to make the challenge in the first place, like jumping in the air, 50-50, winning the 50-50, beating off what's his name? Was it Digney? No,
it was Seamus Coleman.
Knocks off Seamus Coleman with the ball. That's a lot of body strength to use in the first instance, right? Next thing you know, he has ran the entire from his own half all the way down at ridiculous speed
with the ball.
I mean, like minimal touches. Again, we've spoken about this a couple of times. Like, it fascinates me. Professional players hardly have any actual touches of the football. Hardly touches the ball, keeps it going, and then the finish is just ridiculous. It is so ridiculous because he knows he's going to score. Pickford knows he's going to score. The Everton crowd knows everyone knows he's going to score, but he just takes that right touch at the right time. Most human beings, again, and Grizz, I'm still waiting for the football lessons. Maybe I could be that guy one day once Grizz gives me some football lessons. But until then, most human beings are lashing that straight at Jordan Pickford. They are not putting it into the bottom corner the way Mo Salah did. And for me, that's probably one of my favorite goals of his. It's right up there with the City one.
It reminded me of a few he scored, Evan. One that comes to mind, or a couple that come to mind, is I think it's in his debut season again. No, it's in his second season against Arsenal at home in the second game of the season, where he nicks the ball ahead of Bellerin and off he goes.
I think that might be his first season, Grizz.
Was it his first season?
Yeah, because it was Bellerin. I don't know what Bellerin's doing at halfway line there, but then he scores in a check, doesn't he? He scores in a check, I think.
He scores a goal against Arsenal, and then he scores a couple. I remember one against Southampton. He scored very similar, and then one against United.
Bournemouth as well. Scored one against Bournemouth. Yeah, it was not as far out, but he ran quite a lot of the half against Bournemouth.
First thing I could think of was away to Bournemouth in 18-19 because he had Steve Cook just hacking at his heels the entire time. Similar sort of trickling finish into the bottom corner. That was my first thought.
Absolutely, you're spot on. Which one's your favorite out of the ones that we've mentioned, and where does this one rank? Because someone said, who was it that said? Mohamed Salah said himself in the interview afterwards. He said, I kind of knew or had a feeling, or I visualized him making that mistake. If I put pressure on him, I knew. Seamus Coleman, lads, is not a slouch. He may be getting on a bit, but he's definitely one of the quicker players. And he was just left in his trail with the ball. What else I noticed, and again, I know you guys are football men, but elite football people notice the other centre-back tries to cut off the line I don't know if it's centre-back, but another player tries to cut off the line. And you know when you're running in a straight line and you try to take a shortcut, even though he's taking a shortcut, he gives up very quickly, very, very quickly. That speed with the ball, have you seen anyone as quick with that much control in the modern day era?
You know, I'm trying to think.
Jump in, guys, if you guys can remember, and people in the chat, let us know.
So obviously Mo is so fast without the ball as well, but Messi was the first player I ever saw who was legitimately faster with the ball.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's a really rare skill. Coutinho
Yeah,
is
but
that.
he doesn't come into this conversation. We're talking about people from this planet, so I don't think
Oh
we'll
yeah,
use him.
we're talking about people who are real. Yeah, fair
Apparently,
enough.
it was Digne who tried to take a shortcut, but then realized
All I'm saying
the
is, if you're
shortcut
in my
doesn't-
team, right, he's not making it to the box because that's how you make a foul. Like, it's not rocket science. We were literally saying Fabinho should have done it. Someone's got to take him down before he gets there. I don't
But
think Coleman was booked.
it's a for sure red, Conroy, right?
No, I don't know. Like, after I watched it again, just see before he's outside the box and there's a player coming over. Well, you say for sure red, but
No,
see,
no, no. That's
I
a
don't
red.
know.
I think
I
the
think you could be smart about it.
the closer he gets to goal, regardless of who's recovering, the closer he gets to goal, the bigger the case grows for a clear goal scoring.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
Wow.
Evan, see when he first gets it, I think, if he pulls him back there, like roughly, because as Grizz goes on about the Fernandinho foul, I just remember thinking he should have fouled him. Now, I might have to watch that back again, but I think as soon as you're right, mate, as soon as he doesn't do that, then he's in. And I think if that's my team, I'm
Yeah.
like, you need to foul him. But that's just me.
True. I'm just thinking about Vidic's red cards that he picked up against us back in the day for really similar things, and he got a red card for bringing Gerard down on the 20-yard, and he got a red card for bringing someone else down on the
Yeah.
halfway line.
I'm thinking there's
So-
someone on the other side eventually. I might be wrong. It might just be my memory playing tricks on me. 'Cause I remember thinking there was someone close, but that's
No,
me.
no. That's the play I'm referencing. That thought he was close.
Yeah.
Conroy. He tried to get close, but he ended up further away. Like Salah, just right at the end, just swerves to the left slightly more to get away from him as well. So sorry, sorry, Evan.
Out of the goals you listed that were similar, Grizz, obviously this one ranks pretty high because it's against Everton at Goodison, recency bias and all that. But it's got to be the one at against United, right? Because that is the moment for me when we won the league. That was the moment, and everyone felt it, and everyone knew it. We were going 20-ish, whatever, points clear. Martin Tyler knew it, even if he didn't want to admit it at the time. He absolutely bottled that commentary. By the way, he should know as a commentary man. That's the moment. He didn't make.
Don't get me started on Martin Tyler, Evan. Do not get me started.
I won't. But
how much do you think he's on a year? How much do you think he's on a year? And you hear guys like Peter Drury.
I will say, in his prime, Martin Tyler was pretty good.
That's when United were good, Evan. We've had this conversation, mate.
That's when he still had the love for the job, right?
I know.
But, I think the United one has to be pretty high up.
Yeah.
And I know it's Seamus Coleman's error. It'll go down as a Seamus Coleman error. But Demarai Gray, what are you doing giving him that pass on the bounce? What are you doing giving him that pass in a scenario where he's going to have to control the ball as it's bouncing off the turf at 3 or 4 feet in the air? What are you doing, Demarai Gray? So for me, Gray has to hold a bit of the L on that one. He's definitely got to hold that. Just such a stupid pass, For Bellerin at Anfield in Salah's first season, Bellerin's just dealing with a clearance. The ball's just headed out to him like that. But Seamus Coleman's teammate passes it to him like that. You're just asking for trouble because, like you said, I forget if you said this, Grizz, just a second ago, but Salah has the type of mentality where he's always betting on you to make a mistake. He's the type of guy where the cross is coming into the box and there's 3 defenders in between him and the cross. I'm thinking about what happens if all 3 of them miss the ball and I get the ball. So he's that type of guy. He never switches off, not even for 1 second. Doesn't matter what the scoreline is. He's always locked in. So, yeah, Everton across the board, we're asking for trouble there.
Can I just say one thing?
Of course you can.
He took 6 touches, including the touch that scores the goal. 6. That is ridiculous.
So that's what are we saying? That's about 60 yards
easily.
Yeah,
I think that's the norm for him though, because he's absolutely rapid.
It's crazy. 6. He touched the ball 6 times,
but controlled.
But I wouldn't say that's even in his top 10 goals. Like for me, but that's maybe just my opinion.
I would have touched the ball 6 times before I even crossed the halfway.
But this is Mo Salah, who's literally rapid though. Do you know what I mean? 6 is probably about average, I'd say, for him to get there.
I don't know, I don't know because.
But how fast do you think when his touches usually can be quite far?
We should have a look at that. We should have a look at that sort of similar goals and how many touches attackers have in reaching sort of the penalty box. But Conray, we take a 3-1 lead, and this time we don't let them back in. This time we play like you wanted us to play, like how you're saying you want
Absolutely.
us to play. This time we absolutely take the
4-5-1. Everyone backs to
Yeah.
the wall. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
we take the piss out of them, the flicks and tricks coming out, and we'll come on to the individual performances, but I want to talk about the individual moment of brilliance for the fourth goal, and generally the build up to it. Probably Evan wants to talk about this because he's a big Bergkamp fan, but I'm gonna give you the shout of describing and talking about the Jota fourth goal, man.
Oh, just I keep saying
And
this in every
the
show.
reaction of Robbo,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I
and
know.
even and Virgil comes in doing the Bobby celebration, like the karate kick.
It was chaotic.
Yeah.
It's such
It
a
was
No, it
chaos.
was. It was. Do you know the thing is, right? Every time I'm on the show, Grizz, I keep saying how much I love Andrew Robertson and how much I love Diogo Jota. So this goes quite fitting because I genuinely think this guy. I'm gonna jump the gun. I think he is
Yeah.
what a signing this guy is. Like you talk about as being more deadly in front of goal. I think he's the reason for that because he makes. You said it last night, Grizz. He makes the front three into a fab four now, in my opinion, because you've got options now and they're not the same player. And I just think he's evolving. He's learning. His movement. And I know some people in the comments say he doesn't always have the best game with his feet. I understand that, but I just think there's so much to his game, and he's only 24. Like I'm not going to say we say this every show, but what a player! But genuinely, the touch is great in itself to beat Alan, who I actually thought was a decent like defensive mid when I've watched him before. I've not watched him a lot with Everton, but when he's at Napoli, absolutely does him. And it's all about that touch. And then to get in that position, and you know, I'm gonna swear apologies, right? But it's gonna be pissing me off, right? As I've seen people just say, "Oh, he just smashed it." Hold on, right? Hold on. Right, do you know how hard it is to control a ball like that, like an arrow? Like if you've played, you know that's not easy to do. And there's only one area he can score, and it's on his weak foot. There's only literally one area, and he manages to hit it. The reason it's such a good goal. Look at the shot from the players. Like you actually, when you're watching it on TV, you're like, "Where's the ball gone? Where's the ball gone? It's in the net." And then honestly, what a goal! And then he does that, and I'm doing that. I'm doing it at the TV as well. I'm going crazy, and then Robbo's going crazy as well.
Have we worked out what that celebration means? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but I know it's like a famous celebration that many
I
players
know
have
there
done
is a
before.
few players that start. Can someone in the chat tell us what that celebration means?
Someone more cultured than us. Let us know
Yeah.
why all the cool kids are doing the celebration.
No, it was brilliant, and it was honestly, what is that? 8 goals now and 4 assists. Jota's in the Premier League. Is that right?
Well, haven't we got
What a player!
haven't we got the player who's leading the Golden Boot, and then we've got Jota, is he second, or Mane who's second, and then
Jota's second now. Jota's second now because he scored last night.
and then Vardy, and then Mane.
Mane is tied with Vardy on 7, I think.
Amazing. People are coming out with it. It's a FIFA celebration. What does that mean?
Well, because he plays FIFA, because he's like one of the top players of FIFA in the world.
It's a FIFA celebration, alligator.
All right, is that what it is? I love him. Like honestly, I love. I don't know if we spoke about it at the weekend, but before he scored against Southampton, he was literally playing in a FIFA competition in the morning.
I think Mohit's cracked the code. He keeps tagging someone on Instagram whose profile has a crocodile and alligator.
I love how he knows he's going to score, so he does. That was unbelievable. Like he actually. Honestly, it's Diogo Jota's world, and we're just living in it. Honestly, the guy just like
he's fantastic, isn't he, Keith? Because last night we were trying to work out who he reminds us of, what kind of player he reminds us of, and I'm not going to give it away because you guys are copying me. I want to hear your opinions on who does he remind you of stylistically. Maybe not physically, or you can have that as one of the criteria, but stylistically, physically, just who does he remind you of?
Do you know what? That's a tough one,
It's a tough one. Yeah.
It's a tough one. At one stage, he was reminding me of Filippo Inzaghi because all he was just doing was just scoring. Like, he was just living offside. He was just scoring goals. You hear much about him, and all of a sudden he's in the 6-yard box.
Nothing's wrong with that. Take that all day, Keith. Take that all day.
Right? But stylistically, I couldn't tell you honestly. Like honestly,
So well, let's see if the other football men
I
have
think
some
I might know who
shouts.
you choose, but I'll let
Oh,
Evan
you
go
watched
first.
it last night, I think.
No,
You
I
might
didn't.
have-
I didn't watch it last night. Grizz, I think I don't know. I'm feeling the energy. I think we're locked in on it. Don't hate me, but I'm getting Robbie Fowler vibes from Diogo Jota.
Oh no,
Did I beat you to it?
Do you know what I would
No.
say?
No, that's not okay.
No.
But
That's not my shout. But if you're saying Robbie Fowler, look, I'll
it's
tell you what it's
Portugal.
not. I'll tell you what it's not. Avi came out with Raul. Now it's not Raul. Raul
No,
was all
because he's
about
not. I don't
touch.
think he's not like a. I don't think he's an absolute killer. Like I think he'll get there. I just think he's good right now. I think he'll become that. So I don't know.
I came out with.
Can I say what he reminds
Yeah,
me
yeah.
of?
No,
Chris,
sorry.
before
Yeah,
you say
you
it?
sorry. You're going to enjoy it.
No, because no, it's not true, right? This person's a much better finisher. This person's like a ridiculous finisher.
You're convincing
But
yourself.
because he's small and he's like kind of like he's quick in his movement and he seems to be for such a wee guy. I'm kind of Michael Owen, right? But at the same time, I don't know, like, because Michael Owen was ridiculous at finishing, and people want to say Michael Owen was a great finisher. So I don't know if he's quite on that. But see, because of their height and the way they make themselves in the box, not since the start, but as he's evolving, he's kind of reminding me of that. But that might be a wild shout. It's just the first one that came in my head there.
I don't think that's a wild shout because I done a hybrid. Like I was struggling like you guys to think of one player that he reminded me of. People are saying Tevez in the chat. Not a bad shout. Aguero. Some people saying. I said hybrid between Torres and Owen. That's what I said.
Interesting shout.
So the reason for my thinking like this was Torres was a clumsy dribbler, but always managed to get through somehow. He was underrated strength, very underrated strength. Torres was a proper, sturdy attacker. You could not get the ball off him. People underrate that about Jota. Jota is very strong on the ball, guys. He uses his backside really well. Underrated heading ability. Not many people spoke about Torres's heading ability. Jota has proved it as well. I just think some of his finishes, and I get the Owen comparison as well. I don't see one player that he reminds us of off the bat. Maybe because he's developing from a left-sided attacker evolving into a central striker, and so maybe it makes it tricky. I don't know.
Yeah, because the wide forwards now, even in our past,
Wide
there may be
forwards,
wingers or it's maybe hard. A lot of folk are saying, someone said Ali saying David Villa.
Oh, I mean, listen, and I would
enough,
say
but-
if he becomes anything close to any of these players, I'm going to be happy. But I think my case for Fowler is kind of what Grizz said. He's a small guy with incredible heading ability.
Yeah,
he's a threat in the air, and he's small. And recently,
That's a good shout.
most of his goals have been poacher goals, like Fowler, just sort of showing up in the right areas.
in the moments.
Maybe I'm just nostalgic about Robbie Fowler, but real quick on Jota's goal, it's so many things. First of all, I'm so glad Alan is the one that he sends for an early shower, because he was behaving like I'm not even going to say the word the entire game. And with that turn, Jota showed him that there was actually a game of football happening at the same time if he looked hard enough. And then
keep up, boy. Yeah, keep up, boy.
And I'm sure as cultured football men and cultured Liverpool fans, I'm so glad we talked about Torres, because when we smashed Madrid at Anfield 4-0, before even a goal was scored, Jota sends a young Pepe or a young Sergio Ramos, I think it was, for an early shower.
Torres sends him.
And yeah, Torres.
It's Pepe.
He goes through on goal. Unfortunately, the best keeper in the world was waiting for him at the time, and he makes the save. But it was the same type of turn.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Pepe was the foul for the goal.
Okay, so it
you're
was.
Right,
Ramos.
you're right. He sent Ramos for a.
So there you go. So there's what my Torres comparison kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that as soon as he turned like that, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna see this on Twitter afterwards, and it wasn't long before someone else made the connection too. But
Cannavaro, apologies, because Ramos would be at right back then. So, Beran, good shout, mate. Cannavaro,
honestly,
Ballon d'Or winner, Cannavaro.
Yeah, prime. Yeah, I'm gonna take prime Cannavaro over a young Sergio Ramos. Even
Exactly.
better. Even prime Cannavaro for an early shower. And yeah, so that was the vibe I got from that goal. I've said it on previous shows as well. I think this could be the next big evolution of the Klopp team. And here's the thing: I am a Firmino diehard. I will die on the hill for Roberto Firmino, my favorite player in my lifetime as supporting a Liverpool fan. My personal favorite, not the best, obviously, not the greatest, but
that's your own, mate. That's your choice.
Yeah, he's just likable for me. And that being said, if Jota can do a passable Firmino impression in terms of dropping deep and linking play and moving around and creating space for others, and that's a skill that I think he's picked up this season. If he can do that while at the same time having a greater raw output than Firmino averages, that is the next big evolution of this attack. And that has contributed to this absolute glut of goals that we've been scoring so far.
Hold your thought right there about the evolution. Blue Chip, he may not be on the show, but he still has the knowledge. He's imparting more knowledge on us.
That is amazing.
He says the crocodile alligator Jota has a sponsor with Lacoste, so maybe. So there's a few theories.
I'll get him on the show, Chris. Get him. We can get. We'll do that we'll do that at start every. Get
exactly.
The plot is thickening. This is interesting.
Exactly. So we don't really know what the exact reason for the celebration is. Like, we know Avi has a tendency to make stuff up and make it believable. Like, at the end of the season, I'm gonna break some news that Avi's told everyone, and I'm not gonna say it right now. Actually, we'll skip on. But Evan touched upon the evolution, Keith, and I've been beating the drum about evolution was supposed to take place last season. When we signed Diego Jota, when we signed Thiago Alcantara, and added him to the mix of already what we had. That was supposed to be the season that we evolved into this machine, this monster that we've created now. But the fucking injury situation and the murderous situation we had of our players falling to season-ending injuries was the reason why. But now, can you see what the plan was? So how people on Twitter, waste of spaces on Twitter, start talking about, oh, we need planning. We had planning. Yes. We absolutely had it. We're just a year behind because of the horrific season. Why can't people see that, Keith? And people see it now. Why is it?
As I said, I give him the benefit of the doubt because I think a lot of people came out of the other side with a little bit of PTSD. It was a very kind of everyone was in lockdown watching Liverpool lose 6 games in a row. And I think after that, everyone just thought it was doom and gloom, right? What I love the most is a shout that had taken place a few years ago about Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp was unfortunately beaten with a stick where it was saying that his team's burnout. Klopp doesn't know how to continue success after two, three seasons, and eventually Liverpool will lose their way. Right? We are seeing a sustained world-class football team that has changed over the year from a team where it was more workmanlike midfield, where Mo Salah was a little bit more central, where Mane was a little bit more central. At times it was a front two with Firmino coming inside, into more of Mo Salah being an even wider player and actually building up a much better connection between Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jordan Henderson, and Salah in one place, and Thiago and Fabinho playing as a two and looking after the, sweeping up and doing X, Y, and Z, and Diogo Jota and Mane, the interchangeability of it all. I don't even go as far as to say Jota has almost been given a little bit of at times a centre forward role and at times
absolutely
a CM role. Yeah. I'd say probably Salah would probably score 3 or 4 more goals if it wasn't for Jota. There's been times where the ball's been cut back and Jota's been the one to sniff it first before anybody else. Thiago's introduction allowed us to be a lot more clever with possession, and he almost reminds me a little bit of like a David Silva type, what City had with Silva, in terms of very comfortable at breaking the lines with the ball at his feet, chooses the right type of pass, knows when to recycle, knows when to switch the play. And that's the I kind of always believed we signed Thiago with the idea that Wijnaldum was not going to extend his contract. I've always believed that. Like, that's why he came, because at first it was a bit like, wow, really, 20 Thiago? Okay, that was a bit interesting. We got like 10 midfielders, like someone's going. And so they saw ahead that Klopp wanted to do something different. And you know what, Klopp and his team deserve massive credit, because we're now 5 years into his tenure, and we're the ones challenging for the title. There's no, we had a little lull last season for X, Y, Z, but we're the ones as one of the three big dogs. And you know how big that is. Look at that league table right now. It is men against boys. The only other team to have a plus goal difference is West Ham. The only three teams to have plus double-digit goal difference is Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City. Everyone else is either on 0 or minus figures in the top 10 of the Premier League. That is absolutely outrageous. And the fact we're in, as I said before, in the 5th year, you can no longer turn around and say that Klopp teams burn out. You can no longer say that the club doesn't buy the right players at the right time and plan. You could no longer say that we don't have a squad. This Liverpool football team, and I've said it time and time and time again, this is the best of our era. And, I'll get slated in the chat for this, but if you take out the oligarch and you take out the sovereign wealth fund and you look at the way the rest of the clubs are run by football conglomerates and stuff like that, we are the best run football club when you take those two out by an absolute country mile. We've got a system in place that allows us to identify the Jotas and the Thiagos and how we slip them in and position them with Fabinho's and we've got the manager and Linda's and that triangle on the right hand side, like that's a new thing. Like even Alexander Arnold comes out and says, "Me and Salah have so much more of an understanding now. I know where he's going to be. I know where to play his pass. I know what that's all been built in the training ground." And I will say this in every single stream: we won the pre-season. Never forget, these boys stood in Austria for 4 weeks with Jurgen Klopp from the beginning. He has built this from that. And that, for me, is one of the key moments. Forget winning the transfer. It was never about winning the transfers this year. It was about winning the pre-seasons. Everybody else had Euros, injuries, all this. We had the big dogs, and this is a result of coaching, pure managerial coaching. Man United fans, take note. This is what a true coached football club looks like.
I wanna come back to the super chat, but Asad Ashraf says there should be music in the background of this speech. And he's actually spot on. But Imran gave the super chat. Oh, it's gone now, isn't it?
No, I'll try and get
it. If you can, Conroy.
Here we go.
I've got it. Yeah.
Here we go.
Imran says, and thank you for the super chat. He goes, Bobby's foundation to our success. He absolutely is. We're no way undermining Bobby's success, Bobby's contribution to this football club, but we were just sort of eulogizing over Diego Jota.
So it's an option as well, Grizz, though. I feel like we've seen already this season that games are thick and fast. We need 4. We probably need 5. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. There's never going to be like the Shimikas Robbo conversation that people were starting a couple of weeks ago. You might see that on Twitter, but I don't think that's ever actually going to be a thing with the front three, because it's not the same. Like, I just think you'll have someone who's maybe fatigue, injury, or maybe whatever coming back from international break. You're going to have you need that Bobby in the bench, I think, and I think we need probably another striker as well. But that's a conversation for another day.
I love this comment, Grizz. Something special happened in the Austria camp. I'll tell you what happened. It's such an ethereal place. It looks like very mystical. You guys seen the pictures? It looks like the place you go to find yourself, after your life's falling apart.
Absolutely. It's true. No, but Keith's spot on about that. You're on mute, I think, Keith. But he's right. He said it at the time, and I'll back Keith to this. He said, great football teams are made on the pitch in terms of coaching, in training. Like, that's where great teams are actually made. It's not a matter of just buying players. It's all about getting them together, coaching them, and uninterrupted coaching, spending time with each other. How many times have we spoke? Mohamed Salah was asked a very simple question, and he said, he was asked, "Why are you guys scoring so many goals this season?" And guys, I don't know if you saw it. He said, "We just know each other more." And
Wow.
people think, "Oh yeah, that's a very profound statement." He said, "Think about that. Deep what he said there.
Mm.
We know each other more. We know each other's movements more. We know each other's strengths, weaknesses more. We may have, we could have, we should have maybe dipped into the transfer market, but who's to say that new player or new attack or new would have had that same understanding that these guys have developed and developing?" It's a very underrated aspect, in my opinion, guys. Conroy, I don't know what you think. It's a very underrated aspect in terms of knowing your teammates like the back of your hand, like the back of your head, or whatever the statement says, or whatever the saying goes. Some of
Yeah.
our moves and some of our goals are very telepathic, and it's showing.
I think so, and that's why I think. Listen, I still think we do need a little bit of depth, because as much as you've got unity, which you're absolutely right, you're going to get players injured or going to
Sure,
get going
sure. Yeah,
international.
yeah,
So you need
absolutely.
that. But what I would say is, perfect example, and we're going to talk about the man again. But Jota last night, as much as he can be frustrating, I understand that, and but he's always a lot of time that first time pass, that flick around the corner, and even I can be, but see why he's trying to do that, because the one time that comes off, we're in, and I feel like he is getting better as well, and like players around him, and how he works, and I think that's why Jota was a good signing, because you had someone who was at Wolves, who I know we were unsure at the time, but you could play as a kind of wide forward, but he also played next to Jimenez at times as well in a two, so he's adaptable, he understands how to work in different systems. I feel like that's why, guys, how many folk were pulling their hair out when we didn't sign Werner, and now it's like one of the best signings in the past decade
I
we've
was one
had.
of them. It's nothing.
Do you
There's
know what I mean?
nothing
So it's
wrong
like,
in admitting you're wrong
yeah,
and humble
some it
yourself.
just suits, it just works, and I feel like he's just going to get better. By the way, see that link up, he's just going to get better, and I would actually say right now, he's not the same player as Firmino at all, but he can do a passable job at times
Yep.
when there's games where he want to play. Because there's some games, Evan, where he can play, more in the box, but there's other games where he's really
Yeah.
got to drop in deep and be that
Yeah.
false nine. I think he's getting better at that as well. So honestly, just the unity is there, mate, and it's just, I think we can all see it, guys. We just look like we're absolutely. This is what you'd say in Scotland. We're just on it. You're absolutely on it. Like they're on
we
it. They
say
just
that in
look
London
like,
as well. We say that
on it.
here as well.
Yeah,
On it.
my big criticism, my only criticism of Diogo Jota from his first season at the club was that he couldn't do a Firmino impression. I thought the link up between a front three of Salah, Mane, and
Yeah,
Jota
wasn't
wasn't there. The goals were always there. They would each, the goals never left, but there just wasn't a Firmino impression. But now he's doing a Firmino impression and scoring more goals than he was scoring previously. So it's this scary development for the rest of the league, And
how quick? Because that's a lot of stuff to learn in a small. We're acting like they're elite footballers, but he's not a number 10 growing up. Diogo Jota, is he? He's not a number 10. So
do
to
you
learn
guys
that,
remember? Do you guys remember
amazing.
when he first hit that his great pass, because he starts his Liverpool career off so prolifically, and Klopp was obviously asked about him after a couple games last season, and Klopp says something like he only has 20% of the information he needs right now. And I remember me and my dad were watching that press conference, and we're like, whoa, we better be, this looks like we got another Luis Suarez. And we said it jokingly at a time, but now I'm kind of just like,
he just looks smart, guys. See, when you watch him, I could do a Jota fan cam and just watch him, right? I just think his movement's intelligent. I just think football intelligence is there for me. 24. What's he going to be like when he's 28?
Conroy, football intelligence. The fact that he's coming from Wolves as a predominantly left winger, and has scored the goals and been involved in the goals that he has as a central striker for one of the best teams in Europe. That takes a lot of footballing intelligence, my man. That takes a lot of footballing intelligence. Stephen Duffy says Neto, if he fully recovers, would fit our team seamlessly. I have absolutely no doubt Neto would be absolutely lethal under Klopp in this team. But the guys that I speak to at Wolves tell me he got one of the most horrendous types of injuries you can ever imagine.
I knew he was injured. What is it, Grizz?
Oh man, it's an ACL, but sort of the worst type Like
Mm.
very bad. People are talking about just if he's able to play again, never mind,
That is
you know,
crazy.
on that level. He
Wow.
was unbelievable. A lot of people asking about there's a question here, Rafinha or Neto. I'm a massive Neto fan. There you go. Zed Malik says, guys, Rafinha or Neto. Have you got
Rafinha.
a preference, guys?
I think Rafinha has a little more in his toolbox. I just think he has just a little bit more about him. I mean, that's a bit cruel to say because Neto, I could have said the same thing about Jota while he was at Wolves. You know,
Yeah.
Wolves are not a possession team, and then Jota is expected to come to Liverpool and fit in a possession system. A huge credit to him for learning how to do that. But yeah, you know, Neto, for all of his qualities, I just think Rafinha has a bit of an X factor. You know, I see a world-class player in there already, whereas Neto, I see a bunch of raw talent.
Yeah, but Rafinha's got games like that as well, though, Evan. Rafinha's like very much sometimes that X factor. I agree with you, but like sometimes a Neto suits our system better. But like, I get what you're saying.
You could absolutely.
I'd still go.
Listen, if once Rafinha gets baptized by Alisson in the pool in Liverpool,
Yeah, I would just add. I think Rafinha can
no.
play centre mid as well. Like Rafinha is probably more versatile. So you sign him, you've got a winger and someone who can play as an 8. So Rafinha, if you're going to spend 60 or 50 million for anybody, for me, Rafinha makes sense. Like he's been great this season. He had a disaster against United, one of the worst performances by any player this season. But apart from that, he's been amazing. So
I think we hope that Leeds get relegated. So
you just know a player like Rafinha probably has a relegation clause in his contract because there's absolutely no reason he's going to move.
He may have this season. The story goes, and I did say, but obviously when Chris says it, it's different from Fabrizio says it. So I said we made an approach last season, and we were quoted 60 million plus. We thought he may have a clause.
Plus what, Grizz? A car? Just get a plus £1. Is it Arsenal?
Do you know what I mean? So, but then
that could be 90 million. That could be 100 million.
Exactly. Fabrizio confirmed recently that we did inquire about him, and we were quoted 60 million, which even I must confess at the time when I was told that we've been quoted 60 million and we won't be going back for him, I thought wise move. I didn't see him as a 60 million player. 100%. I wanted to have. Oh, you're not a fan, no, Keith?
60 million is a lot of money for a football player, you know,
really
of that caliber. Yeah.
Now he's shining for Brazil as well, though, so that's probably higher. He was the best player in Brazil's qualifiers, and we're talking about our world-class defensive mid who was in that team as well. But Rafinha was the main man.
So. Not for you.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
Okay.
It's heavy. I see that. I see that's why I think we, like you've just said, if that was what we were quoted, we were probably like, let's see what happens, because I still think there's a sniping opportunity there, and Leeds come in a little bit lower at some point, because at some point, if Leeds are going to stay in the Premier League, they are going to have a rebuild, and I think they are going to have to get some money pumped back into that club. If they get relegated, then it becomes a no-brainer. And
what would you say, Keith? What would you say? What would be your price?
I would say, look, a player of his quality, like I said, for international footballer, you're looking at Diogo Jota type numbers. Diogo Jota was what, 40 million?
About 45, maybe 45, yeah. 45.
International. Jota wasn't Portuguese international. Played quite a few games for Portugal. Scored quite a few goals for Portugal. Played for Wolves. Played at a decent level. That kind of range there. It's a similar type of player, in my opinion.
I think Oliver. I think Oliver may be mistaken. He says we'll never pay 60 million for a forward of that age. Rafinha's not old, guys. Maybe I'm mistaken. He's not old at all, right? I'm sure he's early to mid-20s. Yeah, mid-20s.
No, I think even younger, Grizz.
Yeah, possibly.
Rafinha's 24. Just turned 24.
Okay, yeah. So Oliver, I think we 100%.
And he was born in 1996. If any of you guys want to feel old,
Me too. All good.
Well, there you go.
Born in 1996.
But listen, we digress from the carnage and demolition that was at Goodison Park. We wrapped that up 4-1. It was magnificent. Everton fans, I think what was left of them were just left to boo the rest of the players and team. Rafa Benitez How did you guys feel, just quickly, about Rafa Benitez at the end there? Was there any hint of...
I don't like
obviously-
the singing. I don't like the singing. People may disagree. I don't like when it's like Rafa's at the wheel. I think that's disrespectful. But that's my opinion on that.
What were they singing specifically?
Like,
Rafa's at the
fans
wheel?
saying Liverpool fans are saying like Rafa's at the wheel.
Rafa's
smoke
at the wheel.
sections. I think that's disrespectful.
Um,
That's my opinion.
I mean, the only reason I don't laugh at it is it because it's a reminder to all human beings that just when you think life is really bad, it can always get really worse. You can be an Everton fan and have to endure things like that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a bit.
People could say Rafa was disrespectful to Liverpool. Like, I understand that. I just think not for me. I wouldn't do that.
I have sympathy for him. I think, look, you lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You build.
Yeah, but that's one player, Keith.
Nah,
you keep harping on about Dominic Calvert.
nah.
Is he?
100%.
Really?
Everything is built
Okay.
around him.
Yeah,
When he was fit, like we were talking about, okay, Rafa's doing a decent job. The minute look at it, there's a direct correlation between losing Calvert-Lewin, who I'm a big fan of, not for us, but I'm just a big fan of his style of football. You lose a talisman like that, the wheels start to fall off really, really quickly. I mean, come on, you go from Dominic Calvert-Lewin to Solomon Rondon. Come on.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drop, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's a fair bit of drop.
Dustin, the comment by Dustin F. That's how I feel. He should never took the job. I'm not saying he shouldn't have took the job. I just think.
I think that's who he is now.
Yeah, but I still
He's a
think the
mid-table
guy who wins the
manager.
Champions League for you shouldn't be taking the piss. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with Conroy on this one. I don't know whatever you guys want to say.
I just don't care. Like, I don't know. It's just been so long. Like, I just don't care about Rafa Benitez like that. You know, I don't care enough to pocket watch where he's taking jobs. Like, I just don't care. Like,
yeah, he has taken like 6-7 jobs in between, right? So
it's been so. Is it more than that? I mean, he's going to manage in China. He's already like retired. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. For me, then I don't know. When a manager leaves Liverpool, for me, he retires in my eyes.
I'm like that with a lot of players. So look, Assad's right. Allowed talking about Everton. They're an average team. Look, we're talking about Rafa. We didn't even touch upon their players. They were disgusting. They were awful. But long may it continue. We smoked them 4-1. It was absolute piss take by the end. We were doing olays. A lot of my mates actually managed to get to the game, and they said it was absolutely fantastic watching their players boo them and singing all these songs at Goodison. And then Klopp does the fist pump, Keith. That must have got you really going. You must have been jumping with him and fist pumping as well. But talk to me about your man of the match. If you could, yeah, it's a hard one, it's a tough one, but that's what I'm here for, bro. I ain't here to ask you easy questions.
Yeah. No, you're not here to ask me easy questions. Absolutely. So for me, it has to be Jordan Henderson. Like shout out to Andrew Robertson as well, who brought the intensity. But Jordan Henderson, like, if he can just bottle that performance up, bottle those ankles up, and just
if he'd done that, it would be Zidane. He can bottle that up every week.
He was doing things like little flicks over around. He does things.
He pegged the right back. He said right wing. He pegs Dingley and then whips in. I'm like, what is he on tonight? It's unbelievable.
Captain's performance, led by example, wore the shirt like a true Liverpool great that he is becoming.
We've got a Evan fan in that says, "Great show and great to see you again, Selic." That's a reference to Jota. So we come to you then. Give us an honourable mention and give us your man of the match.
Well, honorable mention. I gotta give it to Robertson because he's continuing his form, continuing to remind us and the rest of the world that he is the best left back on the planet by some distance, in my opinion. And all it took was some rest and some confidence because he's played way too much football over the last 3 or 4 years. That's definitely not up for debate. Grizz, you said it's a tough one because we could give it to anybody for man of the match. Let me put it this way: if the extent of our troubles as Liverpool fans these days are headaches over who should get man of the match, then long may it continue. Right? Yeah. I love living like this. It's so great. I'm gonna give it to Jordan Henderson as well. I thought he absolutely owned the midfield, pressed well, won his midfield duels, was combative. Hasn't always been that way this season when he's been asked to play in other areas, but yeah, he was just imperious on the day.
Shaq knows. People are beginning to work you out. Your face
A
tells
simple man.
your-
Simple man.
your
Simple
face tells
pleasures, right?
your face tells 1,000 stories. People have sussed you out,
I
son.
know. I'm absolutely shit at poker. So
You
like,
you can't hide your emotions and
no.
feelings, man. People have
Texas
worked you
Hold'em,
out.
I have got no chance. Just take the money. But no, Grizz, listen.
Very quickly before you go on, there's
yeah.
still over 300 of yous in the chat. You guys are special. You guys are amazing. But not all of you guys have liked the stream. So what's going on? There's something strange. Like, do you not like his mustache? Do you not like my hat? Do you not like Keith's beard? Do you not like Conroy's, poker face? What is it? Something. Tell us. If not, like the stream. Sorry, Conroy.
Yeah, no, like my first one honourable mention, got to give it to Salah. Like great. The thing that does annoy me, guys, and I don't know if it annoys you, seeing a game, see when someone scores, in our team sometimes people get doubles. It does annoy me how they automatically get man of the match. Like, I know that's like it does annoy me because like our team, there's players who've scored, and you're not necessarily the best player, but they're always like, oh, man of the match. That does annoy me sometimes. But I thought it was really good last night. Andy Robertson, that's in 43 Premier League assists. I was astounded that some people did not know he had 40 assists already. I mean, Trent racks up the numbers and everyone hears about it. Like, Robbo's always right behind. So, yeah, Trent, I think's on 39 now, or 40 in the Premier League. Robertson's on 43. He's 10 off the record now for any defender. What a player. Just unbelievable. I thought the first assist was brilliant, though, because just like to put that ball into that area, because they knew Everton had pushed, they'd left a bit of space. I think Klopp knew they would do that because they'd done that a few times. Even Trent had the shot, left that space for Henderson to score. Just that telepathy between Mane seems to be coming back. So, Robbo, just what a performance, what a player. And as I think, Keith, you said, the stats as well for tackles and I think the duels, and he got 2 assists, but he actually created one big chance. You know what I mean? So it was like his passing for the second goal was quite good. That's maybe been at times this season he's not been as sharp at those areas, but even his interplay was very good. Got to be honest though, you'd be surprised if on the chat he's not my man of the match because he was amazing. He was amazing at the weekend. He was man of the match there. The man of the match for me, and annoyingly, no one's talking about this as much. Jordan Henderson was the best player in that park last night by a country mile. Like, people are talking about, like, this is like a standard performance. Like, the guy was unbelievable. Like, he done everything. He was doing, like, even Alan McCoist is losing it thinking, he's a player, that boy. It's like, he's doing flick rounds the corners. He's doing diags. He's, like, just unbelievable. And then he megs the guy down the side, whips it in, scores his goal with his left foot, then gets the assist. Just, like, for me, like, this is not even a debate. Like, this is not even an argument. He's the best player on the park. Like, that's it. Give him the award. And then I'm a bit annoyed, to be honest. It's a first world problem, but Salah gets man of the match. He shouldn't get man of the match because that's the best game Jordan Henderson will ever have in his career. Yeah. Like, watch the highlights. Like, honestly, I don't think he done anything wrong.
Do you think the people in charge thought Salah's been disrespected with the Ballon d'Or? So therefore, let's give him...
just go for the easy way out all the time. Yeah, it does get annoying.
Let's give him an award from, was it on Sky Sports? No, Amazon. I beg your pardon. But they must have thought, look, he's been disrespected in the Ballon d'Or. Let's give him our version of the man of the match in terms of make him feel a bit better about himself. But you're right. I agree. No. I thought Jordan Henderson was, I think some of you said man possessed, leader, captain. And I've always said Jordan Henderson's a confidence player. Mm-hmm. And that's people would say, what do you mean by that? Because he comes across very confident all the time. I don't think he is. I think when he's confident, it shows in exactly what Conroy said in terms of his passing, trying nutmegs, doing rainbow flicks.
His diagonal passes have been great, passes. I think.
When he's not confident, he plays the simple pass. And that's when he sometimes gets criticized. And that's because of his confidence levels, I think. When Jordan Henderson's confident, there's not many people.
See, when he gets in Team of the Year, Grizz, people are going to lose their shit. And I cannot wait. Imagine if he gets in the Team of the Year. Look at the numbers, guys. I kept saying his passes, his goal involvements, they're getting
As Keith says, 5 seasons of outperforming Paul Pogba.
Crazy.
Season upon season.
Yeah. Like, guys, can I just say real quick on his first goal, this just occurred to me as Conroy was describing Robertson's assist. The first goal is so technically impressive. Do you guys remember Messi literally won a Clasico like 3 seasons ago
Yeah,
with
mate,
the
last
exact
minute.
same goal?
Last minute.
A
It's all for
carbon copy.
Bernabeu. What a
Carbon
moment.
copy. That's so crazy. Sorry, this is all just clicking to me because my friend texted me right after he scored. He just texted me 2 words, Messi-esque, and I was like, wait, what is he talking about?
Good,
It's
really
all,
good comment.
yeah,
Good
it's all
comparison.
fitting in my head right
That
now.
goal.
And crazy.
It's true. I mean, look, the guy, every time we criticize him or social media picks an angle to pick on him, like whether it's his energy, whether it's his injury record, whether it's his passing, whether it's his goal contribution in terms of assists or goals, he fucking smacks every contribution in the face, criticism in the face, and comes back stronger. Before we wrap up, we got a super chat from Shaq who says only Hender could captain our big dogs. And I said it this morning. No, I said it last night, just before I slept. I said, guys, we're witnessing something special with this team, and kind of don't underestimate the role the captain is playing in captaining this wonderful, amazing set of players. The only thing, and I don't want to end it on a downer, Keith, what I meant, and I did say to Keith as well, our show is, I just hope, I just pray, I pray that this super team, because it's a fucking super team, lads, let's not get it twisted, ends up with something to show for it at the end of the season.
Yes.
Whether that's a Premier League, whether that's a Champions League, because it will be a travesty of justice. I genuinely believe that. And it will be so sweet after the season that we had. It will be amazing. I don't know what I would do. I would go crazy. I would go wild. I think we'd all meet up and sort of, I'll get drunk on mango lassi. You guys you're gonna consume as much alcohol as you guys want. I think we'd have the party of all parties if that happened. But listen, we're on a roll. We go to Wolves, which is this is the beauty of the Premier League. Even though it's a Wolves, and we think to yourself, we've just smashed Man United, Arsenal, and Everton. Wolves is just as important. It's 3 points at stake, guys. We'll do a pre-match show tomorrow. We'll look at it in depth. I'm hoping to get its Finners from Wolves TV, hoping to get him on board. We'll have an in-depth look at Wolves, how the way they set up under Bruno Lage. I think Avi's a bit of an expert at pronouncing it as opposed to actual sort of knowing how he plays. But listen, that should be fun. That should be something to look forward to tomorrow. I'll let you guys know when we're doing that. People, please like on the way out. We have put on a bit of a show tonight for you guys. We needed it. Everton, Liverpool put on a show. And so we decided Khanage put a show for you guys as well. You guys, Keith, Evan, Conroy, love you loads. We catch up soon. People in the chat, always. This has been Khanage, over and out.